Thank you, Lynn. Glad to share with you some information about Good Shepherd's Foundation. And I'd like to make a few introductory remarks, and then Brenda will lead with an excellent PowerPoint presentation. I took over as president of the foundation in February of this year, and Brenda had been president previously and has been a big help in the transition and helping my understanding of all what's going on with the foundation. And one of the things I've tried to do to understand is the foundation's history. And in doing that, I looked up, and there's the Articles of Incorporation, and that was in 1987. And on that board of directors were David Swenson, Aubrey Fowler, Robert Anderson, Robert Gorsuch, and myself, and all those signatures were on there. And back then we had an idea it was a good thing, but we didn't know where it would go and how it would go. And we kind of had a slow start. Esther and I moved to Holland, Michigan for a while, and I lost touch with the foundation. But then you look at the records, and in 1996, the value of the foundation was $38,000. And but then you look at what went through time, and you marvel at the people, I'm sure all of us would know, that left monies in their will and bequested to the foundation. Other gifts we've received of stock, of charitable gift annuities, and a gift of real estate and other things that have come to make the foundation quite a substantial organization. And through time, many of the board members have really worked hard to make that happen, and we're so appreciative. Ann Ellingbo back there served on the board and also served as president. And you look back in the minutes and how they worked and strategized to encourage significant gifts to the foundation. So we've received many, big and small. Dick Weaver also served on the foundation, so we're glad for that. And normally Al Becker would be here. Oh, there he is. I'm sorry, Al. I missed you there. And Don Nelson served, and others from our church family as well. So it's I think, a wonderful concept of leaving a legacy that lives through time, even after one passes on. But Brenda has all the good information, so we have to know a little bit about her. And then in our annual report packet, there was a little write-up because she was nominated to serve another term on the foundation board. And here's what that write-up said. Brenda Wilcox retired in December of 2017 after a successful career with Thermo Fisher Scientific. During her career, Brenda had multiple general management, financial management, and commercial operational roles. She graduated from the UW Eau Claire with a BBA in accounting and received her CPA certification in 1982. Brenda is married to Bill, and both have been members of Good Shepherd Lutheran for over 30 years. Brenda has served on the church board and was board president for 2 years. She is currently on the Columbarium board and has served as foundation president for the past 2 years. Brenda has had the opportunity to travel extensively, both in the U.S. and internationally. She enjoys playing racquetball and golf and is an avid Badger and Packer fan. Brenda, it's all yours.
Thank you, Dean. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. He didn't tell me he was going to do that part of the program. So, Lynn, thank you for inviting Dean and I here to talk about the foundation. We've kind of been on a campaign this year to just improve awareness within Good Shepherd of our foundation and what the foundation is all about. Because it's amazing, even though, as Dean mentioned, we've actually had the organization in place since 1987. A number of our members still aren't aware that we have a foundation. So very happy to be here today to talk a little bit about the foundation and the work that it does. So I'll go through a little bit about the structure of the foundation. Dean commented a little bit on the growth that we've seen. I'll cover that in a little bit more detail. I'll talk about how we, as a foundation, make gifts to support the Madison and Verona community in serving the mission of Christ. And we'll talk about how that process works. And then we'll talk about how you can be part of the ministry as well. Okay. So as Dean mentioned, the foundation was actually incorporated in October of 1987. So it's actually a different, separate charitable organization from Good Shepherd Lutheran. And that's really done for tax purposes. So it's its own 501c3 organization. But as you can see from my second bullet, it was organized really to support Good Shepherd Lutheran Church and to advance our ministry of Jesus Christ. The foundation is actually governed by a board that's made up of 11 people. Our lead pastor, Pastor Chris, is on the board. There's always one representative from the church board. And for the last couple of years, that's been Tom Golden, who is our church president. So he sits on the foundation board so that there's a strong connection between the two boards. And then there are 9 other members that are actually approved and appointed by the board and then approved by the congregation. And those 9 members also serve on 3 committees that we have on the foundation. One being the investment committee, one is our grant committee, and the final is our development committee. And so the current board members on the investment committee are Jim Edgerly, Nathan Brinkman, and Lois O'Rourke. The grant committee is Karen Grunenson, Tom Golden, Diane Hansen, and Dean. And then the development committee is Aubrey Fowler, Kay Simmons, and myself. And one change that we actually made within the foundation this past year is to appoint a firm that can actually provide financial advice to the foundation. So based on the size of the foundation and the growth that we've experienced, we really felt we were at a point where we would benefit from having an expert to work with us, help us to set investment strategies for the funds, and also ensure that we're making the right investments and balancing our risk and our returns. And so we selected Thrivent Financial as our partner in that effort. And so Thrivent's been working with us for about 6 months. And as you think about the foundation, the way that we like to think about it is, and when you think about your participation here at Good Shepherd Lutheran, there are many different ways that you can support the mission of Christ. We all do pledges or intent to give, now it's called, to support just the annual operating funds of the church. We may give funding to support our capital drives or to pay down our debt. But one other thing that you can think about is also thinking about making legacy gifts through the foundation, so that that mission of Christ can carry on even when you're no longer here. And that's really where the foundation comes into play. So it's just another form of stewardship, another way of giving to your church family. So as Dean mentioned, we've seen tremendous growth in our foundation, and that's really as a result of some wonderful gifts that have been made to the foundation as people have planned their estates over time. So as I mentioned, we were formed in 1987, and at the end of 2008, the foundation had grown to 145,000. So we saw that growth in the first 20 years of having the foundation in place. Then you'll see that we actually jumped up to over $500,000 by the end of 2010. And when we actually closed 2017, the foundation had grown to almost $2.5 million. And the majority of that growth has come from members who have remembered Good Shepherd and the foundation as part of their estate planning. We have a number of what we call different funds that encompass or make up that $2.5 million. And this is really based on the gifts that have been made to the foundation. Sometimes our members have asked that those gifts be used for a specific purpose. And in that case, we actually set up what we call a designated fund, and we ensure that those initial gifts and all the income that's earned on those gifts over time is put into its own fund and used based on the desires of that specific donor. We also have a couple of funds that are what we call general funds, where it really is open to support different programs as identified by the church board as well as the foundation board. So we have two general funds. The combination of those, the general fund and the GS40 fund, are about $1.4 million of the $2.5 million. We also have three designated funds. We have a food pantry fund, which is used to address food needs within our community, both the Madison and Verona community. And that balance at the end of last year was $687,000. We have a transportation fund, which is used for bringing our members to the 10 o'clock service here at the Madison campus. We have a bus that picks people up who are unable to drive. And then we also have the Fritchie Fund, which was formed a couple of years ago. That's a little over $300,000, and that's really used to support our Good Shepherd youth to attend camps and retreats and other activities supporting the youth who have needs here within the church. So that's really the background or the overview of the foundation. So what ends up happening is members of our congregation will make gifts to the foundation. Those funds are invested. The returns then are consolidated, and a certain percentage of that balance every year is made available for grants. So the intent is that those funds that are donated really will have a long existence here within Good Shepherd, and that they'll be able to continue to give for years and years to come. And so right now, this year, for example, we're giving 4.5% of the balance of our foundation back out in the way of gifts. And we call those gifts grants. And so if you look at the original articles of incorporation, as we think about the foundation giving back gifts to support Christ's mission here within the Madison and Verona area, these are some of the guiding principles that we use in determining where those gifts would go. If you go back to our original articles of incorporation, you can see that the definition was pretty broad, that the funds were to be used, so we were to use and devote the income and the principal of the funds to the benefit and maintenance of Good Shepherd and of any and all institutions and line of work and activity of whatsoever character, now or in the future, conducted by Good Shepherd Lutheran Church, which the Board of Directors determines will advance the ministry of Christ. So you can see it's pretty open-ended, so the foundation is there really to support the efforts of the church as determined by the church and the board. As a foundation, as we talk about it as a board, we really look to support programs that maybe are outside of the norm of the day-to-day operations here of the church. So if some of the day-to-day activities are already supported by the operating budget that we all support annually, the foundation feels that we should then use some of our funding to support new programs or programs that aren't funded. So that's one of the things that we think about when we talk to the board about what are new programs that have come forth, new ideas that are there that maybe don't have the funding today, and how then can the foundation help to progress those programs.
Brenda, it may be easier to read if you take the lights off.
Oh, sure. Let's see if I can. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And some of the other things that we think about as a board when we evaluate grant opportunities that are given to the foundation board is we, again, we look at the impact that project might have on Good Shepherd. We look at the impact of how many of our members would be impacted by that or would participate. And we also look for ways to, whether that specific program or idea would be supported by other means besides just the foundation. We are a little concerned about supporting a program just solely by the foundation in case some year we weren't able to do that and the program would fail. So we look to really combine the foundation resources with other avenues in determining whether that grant should be recognized or not. And if you look over our history, I would say the main areas where we have focused and where we have approved grants relate to supporting our neighborhoods, evangelism and outreach, as well as the children, family, and youth programs here at Good Shepherd. So all of those areas have been supported by grants over time. And if you look at the most recent history, the foundation actually awarded grants, gave out gifts totaling $44,000 in 2014. And when I updated this chart a couple of weeks ago, we were on track for about $78,000 of gifts in 2018. And we actually just approved a few more grants over the course of the last couple of weeks, so that will be greater than $80,000 of gifts that the foundation will give out in 2018 to support various activities here through Good Shepherd. And if you look at some of the programs that are supported, one that we've supported from the very beginning is scholarships. So the foundation supports Good Shepherd youth who are attending ELCA colleges or the seminary, and we still do that to today, and we'll give out about $14,000 this year in scholarships to youth that are going to universities or to the seminary. For a number of years now, we've supported the summer intern program, where we actually have Good Shepherd youth who apply for intern positions, and those interns then run a number of our summer camps, and they help with a lot of other activities here at Good Shepherd throughout the summer. And the foundation has been a strong supporter of the summer intern program, and this year we approved a grant to them for about $26,000. Camp scholarships, we again support through the Fritchie Foundation, or through the Fritchie gift that was given. We actually support scholarships to our Good Shepherd youth who are attending camps. It could be one of the camps that are right here at the Madison or the Verona campus. It could be Sugar River, it could be Pine Lake. Wherever there is a need and there's an interest in a youth attending a camp, we will support that by a scholarship. And scholarships this year were over $13,000. Again, I commented on the bus services that is provided. That the cost to that's about $6,000 a year. We support the clothes closet. This year grants were about $1,100. We supported the youth trip to Houston when they did the National Youth Gathering in Houston with a gift of $5,000. We supported the church with some new recording and some of the digital signs that you see in the lobbies at both campuses. The total of those two gifts were about $6,000. And then we've also supported the hearing loop system that was installed both in the sanctuary here at Madison as well as here at Peterson Hall. So those gifts were supported by the foundation. So just kind of an idea of some of the programs of the foundation. It shows the dollars at work throughout the church, at both campuses. So we really do feel that the foundation is having an impact in both of our communities that make up Good Shepherd Lutheran. And these are just a couple of examples that we wanted to share with you of the foundation's dollars at work. The first is from the food pantry. One of the initial gifts to support the creation of the food pantry or food pantry garden that was created at the Verona campus was a gift that was supported by the foundation. And after the first year of our food pantry garden, we actually produced over 1,500 pounds of produce that was actually distributed to our neighbors through our food pantry. We had 150 volunteers, many of those youth, who actually maintained that garden throughout the summer months. And just a couple of quotes that came back from those individuals who participated in this ministry. The first was from one of our youth who said, I really didn't think I would like gardening, but I really like this garden. So, again, their way of serving. And one was actually from someone who took advantage of the produce through our food pantry, commented, "These are the best watermelons I have ever had." So again, just a sign of our ministry at work. Some great comments from some of our youth who attended the National Youth Gathering. Hopefully many of you heard their stories directly at one of the services a couple of weeks ago. But just some of the quotes that came back were amazing. Everyone was born with the purpose of creating their mark on the world. Another one of our youth said, "You can't be blessed with something that's already yours. You don't need to work for God's love, you just need to accept it." So these are just statements that are coming from our youth who were able to attend that National Youth Gathering, and again, part of that supported by the foundation. The summer camps, some of the quotes from the kids that attended the camps from the parents. You have an amazing Vacation Bible School program. We're blessed. My son was hesitant to go, but had the best time. He came home every day saying it was great. And then our summer intern program, we actually had comments provided back from each of the youth who were part of the intern program. One of them said, "Being surrounded by people very confident in their faith and discussing different spiritual topics both benefited me a lot." So again, these are just, it shows you the value of these programs, and as a foundation, we're really happy that we can actually support and provide this benefit. So how do you maybe get involved? One of the things that as a foundation board we'd like you to think about is, we're sure all of you are given the opportunity to make donations to a number of different charities, be it the United Way, be it American Cancer Society, American Red Cross. There are just many, many opportunities that are presented to all of you to either make a gift at the end of the year or to maybe make a longer gift long-term as part of your estate planning. As a foundation board, we just like to ask you to consider the foundation as yet another one of those opportunities that is available for you, and to think about being able to help those funds be able to carry out the ministry of Christ long-term. And as you think about making gifts to the foundation, there's different ways that you can do it. You could make a one-time gift. And we've listed just some opportunities on the left side of this screen. You might want to do a one-time gift to recognize someone's birthday. You may want to do a one-time gift to really memorialize a family member or a friend that recently passed. There might be a specific incident that happened in your life that you're really thankful for, a great opportunity to make a one-time gift to the foundation. Or, if you look at the other side of the slide, you may want to think about it as part of your estate planning. And there's different ways that you could do that. You could include the foundation as part of your will. You could donate stock or bonds directly to the foundation. You could have a trust that names the foundation as a beneficiary, a life insurance policy that names the foundation as a beneficiary. Lots of different ways that you could think about and keep your church in mind as you do your estate planning and have that impact carry on for years to come. So again, we're just asking for your thoughtful consideration of the foundation. These are all opportunities that you could at some point discuss with your tax accountant, with your financial advisor as different ways to think about your church from a planning perspective. But again, just wanted to build that awareness. And just a couple of parting comments before I open up for questions. As I mentioned, we are a separate organization from Good Shepherd Church itself. So the legal description is Good Shepherd Lutheran Church Foundation Limited. And if it is something where you'd like to consider the foundation as part of your estate planning, and you'd like to make that known to our pastoral team, and you'd like an example of a letter to kind of show what your intent is, just feel free to reach out to Dean or myself or any member of the foundation board, and we can give you some examples of that. And with that, I'm going to open it up for questions.